Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Parlay. Awthentik and The Beard, the best television show not on television. It is week 8 of the NFL season. It is time to separate the maybes to the definitelys, the winners and the losers. But you will never be able to separate the strong side and the left side. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who does giant overreaction every Monday, Mr. Awthentik himself. Shout out, sir.
That was a fire intro, man. I am the man. I don't know about the myth and the legend, but I am the man. What's popping with you, though, man?
Hey, listen, I got up early. We got a little football going on, if that's what you want to call it. I set some fantasy lineups, working in some DraftKings stuff. Now it's just like, I got to wait till 4:25 for my Commanders, though. That's a bit of a long time. We haven't had a 4:25 game all season long. So,
oh, really?
So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot going on today. We've already had a lot of injury news coming out last night into this morning. So I'm excited, man. I'm always excited. It's Sunday. It's football.
Facts. I'm definitely ready for some football today, man. Giants got a big game at 4 o'clock against them Seahawks, man. Definitely got to get this win. For your Commanders, you shouldn't be too mad at a 4 o'clock game, man. You get to wait a little bit longer till y'all get to take that L. It's not that bad.
Whoa. Listen, I forgot who it was, but shout out to the person that left a comment on Thursday's video said, "Did the Beard's face when you picked the Colts?"
Oh, yeah, when I picked the Colts.
It was pretty crazy. But let's go ahead and say some shout outs to the lovely people in the chat. And then we'll go ahead and get rocking and rolling. Shout out to everybody who's watching us right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up while you guys are here. We definitely appreciate it. I saw some extracurricular activities going on in the chat early on. But according to StreamYard, Awthentik was first in the building with the biceps.
Oh, really?
So.
According to StreamYard, I was not first. I was not first. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, man. Well, shout out Coach Taylor. J-Mo's in the building. What's going on, Jameson?
Facts. And
Good
he
to
was
see
giving
you.
us a little play-by-play. I did peep that. Shout out to J-Mo in the building.
Yeah, and his Cowboys do play the Bears today at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be talking about that game.
Let's go Bears.
Awthentik said the gloves are off. It is all Giants, only Giants this week.
We in week 8, bro. It's time to separate us from the rest of that pack, man. You know what I mean?
Big shout out to Waterfly dropping in this morning. We appreciate you, Waterfly. Thank you for stopping by. Who else we got in the building? Gregory says good morning, everyone. Good morning, Gregory.
Is that a cat on the profile pic? Oh yeah, with the cool shade, with the fear and loathing shades, man. Shout out to Gregory one time.
Shout out Gregory in the building. Kevin, the PRF, one of our resident Commander fans, say what you want about Wentz. Thank goodness we didn't completely sacrifice our present and future like the Broncos did.
Yeah.
They gave up a lot for Russell Wilson. We'll see. Maybe he can take this week 8 and turn things around moving forward the rest of the season.
Hey, no brisket, no biscuit, man.
There you go. That. No lie there. Big shout out to, I can't do this one. This is an Awthentik shout out.
Oh, man. Michael Knight. What's up, fam? How you living?
Good to see you, sir. Steven Ars is in the building.
Yes, sir. What's going on, dog?
Jerry, Judy, and Bradley Chubb trade vibes. It's going to be interesting as we get closer to the trade deadline.
A lot of Giants fans been hating on that man, Jerry Judy. Jerry Judy trying to show up and show out. Just scored a touchdown just now, and he had 2 catches on that drive.
Yeah, I'm a big Jerry Judy guy. I don't understand the Jerry Judy knock. He's
people trying to put him and lump him into this category of a guy who drops passes like Evan Ingram. I'm like, that ain't the case, man. I think y'all looking at the stats a little too heavy, bro.
Yeah, you got to look at all the quarterbacks that he's played with since he's been
Facts.
there. So, that's definitely comes into play. Edward Squires, everybody's favorite GQ YouTube name, is in the building. Good to see you, sir. Big shout out to our very own Marjorie, who is generally dropping the Marge bomb. She's going to be running some errands this morning, but we'll be back just in time, hopefully, to give you guys some inactives and actives. Appreciate you stopping by as always. Jay Jean is in the building.
Hey, what up, fam? What up?
Let's remind the league why Gino was a backup and the infamous now LFG NYG has been dropped in the chat for the first time today. Big shout out to my wife who is hungover but is here. So shout out to Josie. Appreciate you stopping by and checking in.
But here, I like that, Josie. I like that.
Raziel the Great is in the building. A lot of people are super excited. I mean, listen, if the Giants get to 7-1,
it'll be crazy.
We might hit.
Is crazy. 7-1 is ridiculous.
We might hit 300 tomorrow in the Giant overreaction.
Facts. The more wins, the more crazy that show gets, man.
Big shout out to COD001, one of our resident Dallas Cowboy fans. Appreciate you stopping by. Sink Zappa is in the building as well.
Give him a stash twist on that one.
Give him a stash
yeah, you got to give him one of those.
And big shout out to Cernock from Cernock's Connection. If you guys aren't following Cernock on Instagram, make sure you guys do so. You see that fire vintage New York Giants t-shirt that Awthentik is rocking right now, courtesy of Cernock's Connection.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate that, man. Definitely appreciate that.
Appreciate everybody else in the building. Thank you all very much for checking in. It means the world to us. All right, so this is your first time here at the Parlay. We're about ready to give you, I mean, last week we absolutely crushed it.
Did we?
Okay. Oh, we crushed it. I mean, some of the running back plays we gave out last week, Josh Jacobs, 3 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker. I mean, we are on a roll here at Awthentik and The Beard, so we're about ready to give you guys all of our fantasy football plays for this week. And then the world famous, I don't know if the sound department has gotten the rapid fire effect yet. Rapid fire section where we will go through each and every single game and give you a winner against against the spread. And if you guys have any fantasy football questions, drop them in the chat. We will get through them as best as we can as we're going through the show. And then at the end, we'll hit as many as we possibly can to make sure we get you guys out of here in time to set your lineups before the first, well, I guess the first wave of games kicks off. Since we've already got a game in progress right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars and Denver Broncos. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to give you all our top fantasy signal callers for week 8 in the National Football League.
Fancy.
Mr. Awthentik, I'm gonna start with you as you were once a signal caller yourself. And
yes, I was. Playbook was about a good 35 pages deep, man. I was knee deep into that playbook, man. Took me all summer to learn it for junior varsity football. All right, man, let's start with me with the quarterbacks. Y'all already know Josh Allen coming off that bye. I'm major Josh Allen this year. He's been my quarterback, man. And I got the stack with Stephon Diggs, so you know that's a no-brainer. Josh Allen has at least 297 passing yards in 5 of his 6 games, and he's eclipsed 400 yards twice. Had to do that 297 because otherwise it would have been 4 out of 6 for 300. That don't sound as good. I also like Jalen Hurts going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers today. The Steelers ranking 29th in passing yards per game right now, allowing 29th. And Jalen Hurts is 5th in PFF passing grade. He's 2nd in completion rate and 5th in yards per attempt. I'm definitely digging Jalen Hurts, man. We've been on Jalen Hurts for a couple of years now, and this year is starting to finally come to fruition. And last but not least, I like Joe Burrow against them Browns, man. Joe Burrow finished as a quarterback 1 overall in each of the last 2 weeks. Since week 6, he's 1st in PFF passing grade, 1st in passing touchdowns, and 2nd in adjusted completion rate. 4th in big-time throws. I'd look for Joe Burrow to have a big-time day today, man.
So remember when I asked you, is Joe Burrow playing the best football outside of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes right now? I think it's kind of interesting because he's climbed into, fantasy-wise, he's climbed into the number 3 spot after those last couple of games. And we gave you Joe Burrow last week. And he came out. I mean, he put up bigger numbers than 90% of the quarterbacks in the first half last week.
I'm still go with Daniel Jones. How you like that?
I also really, really, really love Josh Allen this week. I mean, listen, a guy like Josh Allen with some rest is kind of scary. So, that's kind of something you got to keep your eye out on. Obviously, the matchup is kind of crazy. Green Bay let Taylor Heineke go for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. So I'm kind of curious to see what Josh Allen's going to do against that Green Bay defense. Also, Jalen Hurts, love the matchup. I mean, if you had to compare, not necessarily say they're the same or compare them as far as what their eliteness level is, Jalen Hurts is on a similar trajectory as Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a better passer now.
I see you tiptoeing as you try to say that. Kind of like, I don't want nobody to clip this up.
Yeah. But I do want to say that, if I had to look at the style of play, Josh Allen runs a lot. A lot of people don't talk about Josh Allen running, but, he does run, and he's effective.
He is the running back for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, he's a different style running quarterback than Jalen Hurts is when they get outside of the pocket, right? But nonetheless, when Josh Allen played Pittsburgh earlier this year, he had 466 total yards and 4 touchdowns. So I'm looking for Jalen Hurts to take advantage of that Pittsburgh matchup in this week. And my last quarterback is a guy that I've been high on since the beginning of the season. He got hurt, but he's back. His name doesn't fall into the Minneapolis backpack rap, but Tua Tagovailoa is going to have a huge game this week. That Detroit defense, although their pass defense has improved over the last couple of weeks, they're still 22nd in the league in pass defense. And Tua is the only quarterback that has 2 top 10 wide receivers in the National Football League. So I think Tua is going to come out today and have himself a game. I'm expecting a big game from Tua Tagovailoa. That's that trap.
The trap. We should go ahead and copyright that.
Lower. I don't know how they haven't dropped that. I'm smoking on that Tua Tagovailoa.
Like,
probably Amigos.
It's definitely something from Amigos.
But those are the Authentic and the Beard top quarterback plays for Week 8 in the National Football League. Up next on the board is going to be this week's top fantasy running the rock guys.
Flying by you? Yeah, you like that?
All right, New York Giants fans, Authentic and the Beard fam, I'm going right to it. I'm going with the 2 running backs in the New York Giants game. I'm going with Saquon Barkley. Is going to be one of my top running backs this week. I mean, we talked about this on Thursday. I mean, Barkley's averaging 20.2 fantasy points per game. Seattle gives up 144.4 yards per game. Shout out Lax. And then, we talked about Saquon Barkley, in my opinion, might have his best receiving game of the year. And what more do we love in fantasy football than a running back who also catches the ball? Maybe a quarterback who runs the ball. But that being said, that's about it. So, I mean, last week, Seattle gave up 12 catches to Austin Eckler. So, I expect a big game from Saquon Barkley. And on the opposite side of the field, Kenneth Walker III. I mean, the guy has gotten 20-plus carries over the last 2 weeks, and he's averaging 117 yards per game on the ground the last 3 weeks, 4 touchdowns the last 3 weeks. New York Giants run defense, 30th in the National Football League.
Ooh, we dropped to 30th now? Ugh, yeah, we've been struggling to stop that run, man.
Yeah, 30th in the National Football League. And then we got to talk about a guy who's finally coming back, Mr. DeAndre, about to wipe the floor with the Swifter. Swift
okay.
is going to be making his comeback this week. You want to know what? I got one stat for DeAndre Swift. One stat only. He is number 1 in the NFL yards per touch. All you got to do is just get that ball to guy. I mean, that guy the ball. and
Hit that ball to God.
and he's gonna put up the numbers. So I mean, he is the ultimate dual threat running back, catching the ball, running the ball. He's a big play threat. They're gonna need him in this game. The Miami defense kind of middle of the road, so I'm expecting a big game from DeAndre Swift this week. And before we get to Authentic, we gotta get to the LFG NYG in the building. Big shout out to No Mets, No Nets, No Jets for the $4.99 super chat. Says Anderson Silva lost, still my GOAT. But today is a new day. Shout out to the AATB fam-a-lam. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And can't go without saying it. LFG NYG. Shout out No
Anderson
Mets.
Silva showed up last night. I give him big props, man. 47-year-old. He was in that ring. Definitely looking like an old man, moving like an old man, but definitely holding his own. Had landed some bombs, too. They was throwing some bombs in that match, man. Definitely a good fight. Whenever you see a Paul on the lineup, you kind of, I don't know, this might be a whack fight, but that was a pretty good fight.
It was. And I have been known to say in the past that if you put me in the ring with one of those Paul brothers, that I would go to town on both of them. They
would hit you into the next town. Them boys can fight a little bit.
I started to realize that, I don't know, they look a lot bigger than when I first started saying those sort of things. So I don't really know if I would stand by that. But I mean, maybe in the street might be a little bit of a different story. You know what I'm saying?
I think it'd be worse. I think you underestimating them just a little bit.
Yeah, I know. But it was very entertaining to say the least. Especially the last few rounds are pretty good too. So it was.
I wish it was a longer fight. The whole 8-round thing with them, that's kind of phony. And Le'Veon Bell, we were talking about that pre-show. Like Le'Veon Bell was about to get knocked out in that fight. That was looking pretty terrible. I think you got to give up, hang up the gloves a little early.
So Authentic is a little bit more, better in the boxing world than the Beard is, okay? Now, is that something, 8 rounds, just like a amateur level or entry level sort of situation?
Entry level type thing. Whatever Paul that was, I think that was his 5th fight. So when you starting to ramp up to try to get to where you need to get, 8 rounds, you might see a fight like that. But that's not typical, in most like Showtime pay-per-view fights, 8 rounds is normally not the vibe. And Le'Veon Bell was in a 4-round fight, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So
that's like Triller level.
Yeah, Triller. Is that what it is? Triller.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting because Paul did call out Nate Diaz and Canelo Alvarez.
Ooh, Canelo.
At the end of that fight.
Will. I hope they line that up, because only reason I was rooting for Anderson Silva last night is because I just can't stand them Paul boys. I really just cannot stand them, dog. Like it's like they're taking from the WWF and bringing that to the boxing world in a way with like notoriety and fame, bringing that over when they boxing records really ain't proven they really them dudes.
Yeah, they're like, it's like makeup fights. I mean, there's like a real boxer with them, and then now that would be
a little bit. I mean, one homie did fight Floyd Mayweather, so got to give him that.
Yeah, that was the other brother. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's doing wrestling now, so it's
he doing
pretty
it all.
funny.
Whatever it take to get to that bag, so I ain't too mad at him.
Yeah, no, get that bread. Shout out to Paul Wall, says, who do you think, Tyler Algier or Jamal Williams full PPR? I did talk about how DeAndre Swift is back. I don't think that necessarily takes away from Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams has been a stud this year, fantasy, so I think you'll still see him get a nice, healthy dose of touches. And that Falcons running back by committee between Caleb and Algier is a little bit sketchy at best. So I would go Jamal Williams. Would be my pick. And an Authentic. Before we get to your running backs, let's give a big shout out to Brian for the $1.99 super chat. Says Daniel Jones and Barkley are dime and dash.
I like the dime. The dash kind of not intimidating enough. Saquon Barkley got to imply I'm about to run your ass over. I need something like that. Can't be I'm gonna run away from you. I need it to be I'm going right at you. I'm going to run you over vibes. But I give it I give a B minus for that one, Brian. I like that. I like that.
My suggestion was to call Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley Authentic and The Beard.
I was thinking that too. That's an A plus grade right there, The Beard.
All right, who you got carrying the rock today, Authentic?
All right, you already know Saquon Barkley. You already got that one off the list. And I do kind of like that you chose Kenneth Walker as well because the Giants' rush defense has been bad. Kind of reminds me of the matchup last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who we're watching right now with ETN. ETN, man, he's looking like a premier back in this league right now if he can just keep his hands on the ball and not fumble. 18 or more touches in 6 of his first 7 games for Saquon Barkley. The Seahawks right now are allowing the second most fantasy points per game to running backs, and they've given up the 3rd most receptions to running backs thus far. So I'd look for Saquon to eat, in the passing game and on the ground as well. And we already know Saquon Barkley leads the NFL in scrimmage yards right now. I also like Derrick Henry today going up against those Texans. This is the first matchup between the Titans and the Texans this year. In his last 3 games against the Texans, Henry has 673 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's averaging 7.6 yards per carry over those 3 games. The Texans have allowed the most rushing yards per game in the NFL. To me, Derrick Henry's the smash spot, number 1 today for me as far as running backs go. The Texans are allowing 164 yards per game on the ground. And then you're not going to like this one too much, but I like Jonathan Taylor going up against the Commanders. Taylor only had 10 rushing attempts last week, but luckily he did catch 7 receptions. You got Sam Ellinger at quarterback this week. I'd look for them to rely heavy on the run. I even think, who's the backup over there? Naheem Hines.
Yeah.
I'd look for him to get a couple of carries too. He might be a little bit of a sleeper, kind of giving you a little bit of nod before we get to that section. And then I got one more unsung running back on this list going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Miles Sanders. Steelers defense has allowed 6 different running backs to score 15 or more fantasy points this year, and that includes 3 running backs that went over 20 points. So I think today could be a big day for Miles Sanders. If it's not a big day for Miles Sanders, it's going to be a big day for Jalen Hurts on the ground.
Authentic coming with the 20-piece for the running backs.
20-piece, baby.
Those Derrick Henry numbers don't seem realistic.
Crazy.
That is
crazy.
That is like Madden. That is crazy. And plus, they're going to have a rookie quarterback making his first start. So it just it's really pointing towards a big day.
Speaking of the
for
Texans
Derrick
real quick, Davis Mills, man, kind of coming back down to earth, man. Might be in the sweepstakes to draft a quarterback here coming up in this draft coming up.
He had a good week last week.
A good week? I'm talking about a season, but
I gotta do a little deep dive into some Davis Mills.
You should. He hasn't been playing that well. And another thing about this Houston Texans game, I heard today that they're willing to trade Brandon Cooks.
I did see that also, so that'll be interesting. I don't think he's playing today because of injury/trade, so we'll see how that goes. I like how the NFL teams are doing that now. They're like, oh, no, he's hurt. But basically that means he's about to get traded. That's like in baseball. In baseball, you'll see Bama's be out in left field, and then the coach be like, and then they go into the clubhouse, and it's, dog, you've been traded. All right, we got a couple of questions. C-Bands never stay lacking 45. Says TJ Hawkinson or Hayden Hurst?
I think I go with Hawkinson. He's been inconsistent this year, but, they're banged up at the wide receiver position. I look for him to get a little bit more volume this week.
Yeah, I actually really like TJ Hawkinson. He's one of my guys that's definitely on my radar. I plugged him into a couple of DraftKings lineups this week, so definitely big on Hawkinson. I think he's definitely the safer play and has a higher ceiling. So anytime somebody has a high floor, high ceiling, I kind of like TJ Hawkinson, especially the tight end position when it's just like feast or famine, and you either got Kelsey or you just, you're plugging and playing basically like a defense and a kicker sort of situation. Kevin at PRF says, Najee and Aaron Jones have tough matchups today. Talk me out of biasly starting Brian Robinson over either one of them.
Yeah, I saw a lot of information about maybe sitting Aaron Jones this week. Najee Harris is probably the highest drafted player having the worst season so far, especially from the running back position. He struggled all year long. A lot of that got to do with the quarterback over there. I was talking with some homies yesterday while playing Xbox, right? When you look at, is that Melvin Gordon for a touchdown? He's on my bench. When you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers set of weapons, it really makes no sense that their offense is struggling as bad as they really are with two different quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky have both struggled. But just look at the weapons over there. You got Deontay Johnson, you got Pickens, you got Freiermuth at tight end, you got Najee Harris, and you got Chase Claypool, the forgotten man. Dare I say maybe this is one of the teams that got some of the best weapons in the entire league that are completely struggling with two different quarterbacks. I really don't get it. I definitely stay away from Najee Harris. You could think about Brian Robinson over Aaron Jones because they are going up against the Bills today. That's going to be a tough matchup. And with Washington going against the Colts, I mean, the Colts, they've known to have a good rush defense over the past couple of years, but this year's kind of been a bit of a different story. I want to say they're sitting between 20 and 25 as far as rush defense goes. So, I mean, I would definitely consider Brian Robinson today. Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson, kind of flip a coin kind of vibes here.
I mean, literally exactly what I would say. And you brought up a fantastic point about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I wonder what the root of that problem is. Do we talk offensive line? Do we talk offensive coordinator? There's got to be some sort of disconnect there because, I mean, when you go down those names in that roster, the weapons are there.
The weapons are there.
It's hard to see them at 2-5 and struggling offensively, averaging under 20 points a game with all those weapons. It's a very interesting situation in Pittsburgh right now, but I totally agree. I would not say that starting Brian Robinson would be necessarily a biased situation there. I think you have reasonable evidence to bench either Aaron Jones or Najee Harris. If there was one that you would think about, it would be Aaron Jones over Brian Robinson because Aaron Jones does catch the ball out of the backfield. We saw that last week against the Washington Commanders. So that would be the only edge I think I would give over Brian Robinson would be because they're both splitting carries to a certain degree. Aaron Jones with A.J. Dillon, Brian Robinson with Antonio Gibson. So I think the only edge I would give Aaron Jones would be the fact that he's catching the ball out of the backfield more than Brian Robinson.
And he seems to be a target for Aaron Rodgers. When they get down to the red zone, Aaron Jones seems like the most reliable piece on the entire Packers offense, to score a touchdown, to be honest. So, I mean, I do think that he'll get in the end zone no matter what. But Brian Robinson could have a big day. He's been ramping up since he came into the starting lineup.
Very, very true. And no Allen Lazard for the Green Bay Packers today, too. So I would expect them to put a little heavier dose on the backfield. One more question from C-Bands, Never Stay Lacking. Jonathan Taylor, Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs, who we starting? If we're only picking one out of those guys, I'm assuming.
Jacobs been balling out, but that's difficult. That's a lot of good players right there. Who you going with?
I think I'm going to have to go Josh Jacobs. I just like the way Josh Jacobs is running. I like the volume Josh Jacobs is getting. He had a huge game last week. I like their matchup against the Saints. I mean, it's Miles, that's super tough because, I mean, all these guys could possibly put up insanely big games. But to me, I think Josh Jacobs, the volume is just so heavy. There's nobody else getting the ball, basically, in that backfield for the Raiders. So I'm definitely thinking I'm going to go Josh Jacobs in that situation.
Damn, that's three really solid running backs. I'm curious as to who will be on your bench, that you only starting one of these. But maybe he's starting two of these possibly. I'm gonna narrow it down to two and then try to narrow it to one. So Josh Jacobs has been having a surprising year, but it's the Raiders. I'm still a little bit worried. In this week's matchups, I got to go with the other two names. I like Taylor against Washington, and I just like Miles Sanders against Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers defense is just not the same without Watt in the lineup. If I had to narrow it down to one today, just going with my gut, I'm going Miles Sanders.
Man, can you imagine? This isn't like an insane sort of thing to have because think about it. You probably got Jonathan Taylor first in the draft, right? Or top three, let's say. Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs were two guys that nobody really had on their radar in the top 1-2 rounds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you definitely came out on top having all three of those running backs on your roster. Big shout out to Lax044 for the $4.99 super chat. DK Metcalf, Deonta Foreman, Jamal Williams, or Garrett Wilson. I can only play two.
Okay, DK Metcalf's coming into the game banged up.
Yep.
Deonta Foreman. That's because Hubbard is questionable or doubtful, right?
Yep. I think Hubbard's actually been ruled out.
Too, man.
Yeah,
Foreman
I love
was
Deonta
a
Foreman
back with the
too.
Titans, man. Pick two. I'd go Jamal Williams. Yeah, I'd go Jamal Williams and Garrett Wilson.
Ooh, no Deonta Foreman.
Nah, gotta let him prove it. He's a bigger back, man. So, I mean, he'll probably get the goal line, if they get close to the goal line, he's definitely going to get the goal line touches because he's kind of like a little baby Henry for real. But as far as having a big day, I'm just not sure. I know the Panthers, they're coming off that big win last week against the Bucs and whatnot, but I can't do it. That offense is one of the least impressive offenses in the NFL.
I'm going to go Deonta Foreman and Jamal Williams. I thought about going the route of Jamal Williams, Garrett Wilson, but I don't know. Something is telling me Deonta Foreman might have himself a day today. We're going to have to wait and see, but that's another interesting dilemma you have there as well. So
yeah,
big shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys. And don't forget, if you have any more questions, drop those in the chat. We are going to move on now to our top Authentic and Beard plays for week 8.
Wide receivers.
Because, I mean, we're both catching a rock. We got them hands. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. Let's get it.
So, yes, Authentic and the Beard are 1 and 2 in this week's content creator fantasy points at the wide receiver / tight end position. I'm kind of like a
Zeke Elliott
Taysom
inactive.
Hill.
It's official.
It's official. It is official. No Zeke Elliott today. We will be talking about the other running back in that backfield at some point here today. So, Authentic, who you got? Who's catching the passes all over the place this week?
Number one spot, man. Authentic, representing that all or nothing team. I mean, last 2 weeks, this dude been putting up, man. The graphics department's got his back. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but wide receiver-wise, man, I'd say in no particular order, these are going to be my 3 top wide receivers this week. I like DeAndre Hopkins going up against the Vikings. DeAndre Hopkins came out off the suspension, man, and got right to work. I saw some people on a Steffi Smalls post at around halftime last week panicking, like, when am I going to get my points from DeAndre Hopkins? Well, he ended up the day with 10 receptions on 14 targets, 103 yards in week 7. I'd say he's officially back. You got no Hollywood in the lineup as well, so I think that yields for even more targets for DeAndre Hopkins this week. And the Vikings secondary has allowed the 10th most passing yards, despite already having gone through their bye week too. So that's pretty interesting. They're pretty much 1 game less than the rest of these teams, but they are sitting with the 10th most passing yards allowed. I got to have Stephon Diggs back in the lineup today, man, going up against those Packers fresh off the bye week. Through 6 games, Stephon Diggs has 49 receptions, 656 yards, and 6 touchdowns this season. He also has 4 100-yard games this year. The Packers, though, they're a stingy passing defense. They've allowed the fewest passing yards in the NFL up to this point. But I still like Stephon Diggs, and I still like Josh Allen, man. I don't care what defense you put in front of them 2 boys. They're going to go out there and do what they got to do. And last but not least, definitely not least, is going to be Justin Jefferson going up against those Cardinals one time. Jefferson caught 6 receptions on 8 targets last week for 107 yards, or this was actually 2 weeks ago before they took their bye last week, and that was in a win over the Miami Dolphins, 24-16. So I'd look for Jefferson to ramp it up, man. It's about that time for him to, really get moving, really get going, and they're playing up against a defense that likes to run the zone heavy. The Cardinals have ran zone 60% of the time this season. So I can't remember exactly what game it was, but I remember you were asking, why Justin Jefferson so open? Why is he so open? He was running up against a lot of zone defense that week. Yeah. I'd look for him to eat against the zone this week as well.
I want to say that was the first week, the first game of the season.
I think it was.
Or it was either one of those early games, but he was it was just insane how open he was. I love Davante Adams this week. I mean, Davante Adams has been playing good football. I know the Raiders are way down compared to what most people thought they were going to be this year, but they're a team that I think you got to keep your eye out on because the talent is there. Maybe it just took a little time for the new coach, new system, everything to kind of get the wheels running. They might be a team that goes on a run here in the second half. But I love Davante Adams this week. He's averaging just a couple of tenths of a point underneath 20 fantasy points per game, coming in at 19.7 fantasy points per game. He's going up against the New Orleans Saints, who are 27th against wide receivers in fantasy this year. So there's definitely an opportunity for him to get some big plays. No Marcus Lattimore in this game as well. My next one is kind of cheating. I'm going to go a little duo of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Okay.
I like it.
I talked about Tua as a quarterback. So if I got a quarterback, I got to throw in some receivers for my quarterbacks, because we all about Stack City. Stack City.
Stack
here
City.
At Awthentik and The Beard. So listen, Tyreek Hill, number 1 in the NFL in targets per route, which means he is the most targeted wide receiver every single time he's running a route. And then
he's officially active now too.
Yeah, and the Lions are the 32nd ranked secondary. So, their pass defense is in the 22nd ranked pass defense, but their secondary is ranked 32nd in the National Football League. So that's something to keep your eye out on. And then his Batman and Robin sort of combination here, Jalen Waddle. Waddle is 4th in the National Football League with 621 yards. But you want to know what's interesting about Jalen Waddle? He's the only wide receiver to have at least 600 yards without even having 40 catches. So 600 yards, less than 40 catches. That means the big play is there. So the two of these guys is just proving to be a really nice combination. And a lot of people said, oh, well, early on they were thinking that they were making Tua. But we saw how that offense struggled without Tua. I think it's fair to say that Tua is making a nice jump this year at the quarterback position. And I think it helps to have 2 of the top 10 wide receivers in the National Football League.
I like that. 2 of the top 10.
We dropping bars all parlay long. And the last guy Awthentik touched on, Justin Jefferson. I'm going to give you a little bit of... I'm going to give you a little bit of one of those obscure stats. One of those... when every once in a while McDonald's drops the hot and spicy chicken nuggets. I'm going to give you a hot and spicy nugget. Justin Jefferson has 45% more fantasy points when he plays as a favorite. And in those games when he plays as a favorite, he averages 12.2 targets a game. So he's definitely going to get the ball thrown his direction. And in Arizona's secondary, 30th in the league at the secondary position. So those are my wide receivers. You're going to give us a little update on that Jacksonville-Denver game. Where are we at on that?
14-10 right now. It's 2nd down and 10 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. The Broncos have the ball at their own 25-yard line and missed a little connection there from Russell Wilson to Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy kind of got turned around. Looked like a good throw, but he kind of just turned around, looked the wrong way. And it's going to be 3rd and 10 actually now.
I just want to throw a couple tight ends out there. We talked about TJ Hockenson. I think Hockenson has a big game this week. And George Kittle. I know Awthentik likes to hear this. George Kittle, no Deebo Samuel. Whenever Deebo Samuel's out, George Kittle's numbers seem to go up a lot. Obviously, we love Brandon Ayuk in that position as well when Deebo's out. But George Kittle is another guy to keep your eye out on as far as the tight end position. All right. So we gave you our top hitters here
White, we'll catch you soon, brother. Thanks for rocking with us for a little bit there.
With our little Stack City remix going on. Now it's time to tell you about, I think this is Awthentik's favorite part of the fantasy stuff, is when he gets to tell people, hey, there's a seat for you down there at the end of the bench. These are our sit-ems for Week 8 in National Football League.
All right, Coach. What's interesting about the draft, the graphic department on that one? It got T.J. Watt, Joe Burrow, and a Cooper Kupp in the sit-em section, which probably 3 players. Well, one we know we would never sit because he's on defense, but 2 others that we definitely probably wouldn't sit. Let's just keep it funky. I'm gonna have to take a note here. Send a little email to the graphics department one time.
Jamarcus Russell maybe in that mix.
Oh no, I can't do my guy that dirty, man. Can't do Jamarcus Russell that dirty. I would do what's the dude from the Chargers like that? Ryan Leaf. We could do a Ryan Leaf like that.
We're going to do Ryan Leaf? Okay.
Kajana Carter like that.
Kajana Carter.
Yeah.
Listen, we're showing our age right now. All right, who's sitting on the bench, Coach Awthentik?
All right, I got Kareem Hunt is going to be on the bench versus the Bengals. This is a Monday night game, too. Hunt has scored single-digit fantasy points in all but one of his last 6 games. He's only averaged, or he only had 7.8 last week, and he had a touchdown. How you only scored 7.8 from the running back position and you had a touchdown? Kareem Hunt definitely not getting the same amount of volume. I'd actually look for him to maybe be traded before the deadline or take a back seat to Nick Chubb for the rest of the year and then probably see him in a different uniform next year. I'm also sitting A.J. Dillon against the Buffalo Bills. So Dillon went for 20.1 points back in week 1. Since then, he's failed to score double-digit fantasy points in 6 straight games. Against Washington, he only had 1.5 PPR points, which is just straight-up dismal. And the Bills' defense has allowed the 4th fewest fantasy points to running backs this season. So I definitely put A.J. Dillon on the bench today. Watch him go crazy just because I'm saying that. And this one is for me. I'm going to put Deontay Johnson on the bench this week against the Eagles. So Deontay Johnson has not had like a poor season, but it's just not what we're used to. Wow, as Trevor Lawrence just delivered a pretty good throw, took a big hit there, incomplete. But Deontay Johnson, 5 yards per target, is dead last of all qualifying receivers in the NFL. He's got back-to-back games with under 10 PPR points, and he's only averaging 8.3 PPR points over his last 4 games. So Deontay Johnson, I got to put you on the bench along with A.J. Dillon and Kareem Hunt this week.
So before I get to Coach Beard mode, big shout out to Lax O Fo with a $4.99 super chat. Says Tony Pollard, Brandon Ayuk, Algier, Deontay Johnson, and Darrell Henderson. I have 1 wide receiver spot and 2 flex spots. Who would you play?
Okay, so he's going to need one. He's going to need 1 running back at least, at bare minimum. Tony Pollard is a must start today.
Yeah,
especially with Zeke inactive now, you got to start him. The Bears defense is pretty stingy against the run, I believe, right? I can't remember if
that's their pass defense.
That's the pass defense. So their rush defense is actually really bad because I remember they were flip-flops. So that's even a better matchup. Tony Pollard, definite. Henderson, going up against the 49ers who play them really well. Deontay. I think I go Pollard and Brandon Ayuk.
So we got to give him 1 more.
Yeah, Deontay or Henderson. And it can be, okay, so it could be a back or a wide receiver. Darrell Henderson off the strength of volume. Don't like it, though.
It's super tough. Obviously, I think Pollard and Ayuk are locks, okay? I think the real question is Algier, Johnson, and Henderson. I think I'm going to agree with Awthentik. Go with Henderson and the volume. They really I've been hearing some rumblings about some guy that the Rams might be using out of the backfield because they're not really thrilled with Malcolm Brown as the backup there. And the guy from Notre Dame is still not healthy to help in the running back position there. I don't know what's going on with Cam Akers. They need to make a move. Get rid of him if you're not going to play him because some of us have him stashed on our fantasy bench. Thanks a lot, Sean McVay. Mm-hmm. All right, so speaking of stashed on our bench, here's a guy and the Rams. You know, I like how Awthentik does this too. Awthentik tells you Deontay Johnson. That's a guy that's in his lineup. I'm benching a guy I'm literally benching in real life, not just telling you that I'm benching, and that's Matthew Stafford. I have Matthew Stafford and Derek Carr, and this week I'm going with Derek Carr over Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's had some rough games this season. I want to say he leads the league in, if not leads the league in interceptions, leads the league in pick sixes. He might even lead career lead in pick sixes, it feels like. Every time Matthew Stafford.
The league in interceptions, I know that.
Yeah, so every time he throws an interception, it feels like it's a pick six. I'm going to bench Matthew Stafford. I don't like this matchup against the San Francisco 49ers. So Stafford, bench. Then running back position, Najee Harris. We talked about him a little bit earlier. You know how many 100-yard games Najee Harris has this season?
0. Yeah.
On the bench. Got to go.
Got to go on the bench.
And then I'm right there with you with Deontay Johnson. I just don't like this matchup against the Philadelphia. I almost said Phillies. Philadelphia Eagles. So Deontay Johnson over there. on the bench. Those are my three guys. Those are my three guys that I'm sitting on the bench this week. And I think the one section that most of you guys are here for when you're filling those DraftKings lineups, big shout outs really fast before we move on. Paul Wall. Ride slow, homie.
Sideways.
Enjoying the content, fellas. AATB is TG4TV. Too good for TV.
Too good for TV. I like that. TG4TV. We might have to borrow that, Paul.
We got acronyms for days over here, man. We are the king of acronyms here at Awthentik and The Beard. Appreciate the love, Paul. Wow. All right. The next section that's super important.
TG4TV. I'm a big fan.
TG4TV, AATB, LFG, NYG, httc. I mean, we could go all day.
Paul Wall, baby.
We could go all day. All right. Moving on to the next section is going to be our top sleepers for week 8 in the National Football League. All right, I'm going to be running at the quarterback position. Speaking of running, with Malik Willis. He's getting his first start as a rookie quarterback, and I think he has the opportunity to give you a good game or a really bad game. It could be a really, really bad game, but I like Malik Willis. I think he's going to get you some yards on the ground. He's going to get you some electric plays. You just got to expect a turnover or two possibility. Then we're talking about running backs. Tony Pollard, easy. Well, I mean, that's a given. Michael Carter. No more Breece Hall. Even with Hall, Michael Carter was averaging 10 fantasy points per game. I don't think you see a lot of James Robinson since he just got traded over there. So I like Michael Carter Jr. in this matchup. And a guy that's been showing up since James Conner has been out, that's Eno Benjamin. Eno Benjamin has 10 catches over his last 3 games. He's averaging 15.7 fantasy points per game over his last 3 games. So I really like Eno Benjamin in today's matchup as well. And then Tyler Boyd. Somebody's going to have to step up now that Jamar Chase is out. We're going to run with Tyler Boyd. Chris Olave, okay? Wide receiver, New Orleans Saints, 9 targets per game. Las Vegas is 20th against defending the wide receivers in fantasy. And then DJ Moore, PJ Walker, Carolina Panthers. Nice little chemistry they got going on over there. 10 targets last week for DJ Moore. I think he might come back and have another big game. He's pretty cheap on DraftKings. So those are going to be my sleepers for week 8 in National Football League. Tell me who you got. Awthentik.
All right, so I definitely got a couple quarterbacks for y'all. For the people who drafted, the Tom Brady's, the Matthew Staffords, the Russell Wilsons, the Matt Ryans, maybe even the Aaron Rodgers of the world and are struggling right now. Go out there and get your boy Daniel Jones if he is available. Quarterback 9 on the season right now, 29 points last week and finished in the quarterback 2 range. You talked about Tua as being one of the top 3 quarterbacks. I don't quite got him in my top 3, but I do got him as a sleeper this week. I think he can go off. Detroit has allowed an average of 20.8 fantasy points per game. The quarterbacks is the 4th highest rate in the NFL, so I definitely like Tua going up against them Lions. Running back-wise, I love Tony Pollard going up against the Bears. Ezekiel Elliott out. We already know that. Pollard will face a Bears defense that's allowed the 8th most fantasy points to running backs, and the Bears have allowed at least 18 points to 5 running backs this season. I also like Raheem Mostert, man, to get his name back in the mix as well. Mostert has taken 41% of the running back touches for Miami over the past 3 weeks. He seems to be the main bell cow running back over there now for the past couple of weeks. The Lions have allowed 10 total touchdowns and the 3rd most fantasy points to running backs this season. So for the running backs, Tony Pollard, Raheem Mostert. And I told y'all about Deontay Johnson. He's going to be sitting on my bench this week. I'm elevating George Pickens. I'm going to be starting him in my starting lineup this week against the Eagles. Pickens has been pretty solid playing with Kenny Pickett. So Pickett to Pickens, if that could become a thing, that would be a great name there for sure. At least 61 yards in 3 of his last 4 games. He also had the 15.1 game just a couple of weeks ago. The Eagles defense has played a bit of lower competition, so I think that their pass defense statistics are a little bit inflated. And George Pickens is averaging 13.6 PPR points per game over his last 4 weeks. He really only has 1 dud under 15 points in the past 4 weeks. So I definitely like Pickens. Some other guys, y'all know I like to give y'all the early notice to go get these players now. Maybe stash them on your bench until next week. Kadarius Toney has been on my bench since the beginning of the season. I drafted him like in the 8th round. I think Kadarius Toney will be a great pick if he's still available in your league. And Rashid Shaheed from the New Orleans Saints. He's doing a lot of special teams and punt return duties. He's got a touchdown in back-to-back weeks now. Dude was not even listed in the ESPN Fantasy Leagues as a player just a couple of weeks ago. So go get him, stash him. He might be a good wide receiver to keep on your bench. And they also got another wide receiver, last name White. I forget his first name, but he'd be a deep sleeper.
Kevin White. He got drafted. He was a high prospect out of West Virginia. He was drafted by the Chicago Bears. When I saw him the other game, I was like, wait, Kevin White? Really? He's been gone for a long time. But that's definitely a great name to throw out there.
Yeah, definitely. Just using my eyes looks like he could be a playmaker. So there's a lot of a lot of players in that wide receiver department that are all trying to find, their way into more targets. To me, it's either that kid, Kevin White, or Rashid Shaheed that could probably step up. Michael Thomas been banged up for a lot of the year, too.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry. Both of those guys are out this week. No Michael Thomas, no Jarvis Landry. So you might even be able to throw one of those guys in the mix this week, too. So definitely some interesting names. Those are our nap takers for week 8.
Z's gang.
It's time. Rapid fire is here. Ladies and gentlemen, get your pens ready because we're about ready to go through every single game on the slate, and we're going to pick winners, overs, and unders against the spread as well. And we're going to get things kicked off with the first game on the slate. We talked about a lot of these players. The Miami Dolphins are 4-3. They're 3.5-point favorites. They're headed to Motown to face the Lions. They're 1-5. The over-under 51.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I'll tell you what I got. I got Melvin Gordon on my bench right now with 14 points, man. I started Antonio Gibson over him. Definitely not feeling too good about that. Dolphins Lions here. I think this will be a close game, man. The Dolphins are coming off that L to the Minnesota Vikings just what was that, 2 weeks ago. A little bit worried about them. I know they get Tua back in the lineup, have looked a little bit better. Am I gonna take an upset, man? Detroit's 1-5 for a reason. I'm gonna take the under in this game, and I'm gonna take Miami to cover the 3.5.
Interesting. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take Miami. I'm going to take Miami to cover. I thought about taking Detroit to cover this 3.5, but then I said, man, I've been talking about Miami all day long. I got to go Miami minus the 3.5. Give me the over. And we're moving on to the Dirty Bird. The Carolina Panthers are 2-5. Shout out to the graphics department. They're headed down to the ATL. The Falcons are 3-4, but they're in the mix. They're 4-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 41. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I like the Falcons. The -4 is a little sketchy. This might be a 3-point game. Yep. I'm going to take the Falcons. I'm going to take the Panthers to cover. I'm going to take the over 41. I think this game gets a little crazy midway through to the end. I'm going to take the over 41. Falcons to win, Panthers to cover.
Yeah, I'm right in the line with you on that one. I think this will be a 3-point game, something like 24-21, maybe like 23-20. So I like that. I'll take the over as well, and I think that the Panthers will cover.
All right, we're going back to the Minneapolis Wrap. It is the Arizona Cardinals. They are 3-4. They're headed to Minneapolis to face the Vikings, who are 5-1. Don't ask me how, but they're 5-1. They're 3.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 48.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I was talking with the homies yesterday on Xbox about this game, and one of the homies was like, yeah, the Vikings are terrible this year. And I was like, their record, right? Like, they got one of the better records in the NFL right now, surprisingly. And they haven't really been playing that great of football. But I really, really like the Cardinals with DeAndre Hopkins back in the lineup. I actually think he makes them a different team. He's what I like to call a game breaker, a Saquon Barkley, a Devontae Adams type of vibe. I'm going to take the Cardinals in this one, man. I'll take the Cardinals. I'll take that over 48.5. Minnesota by 3.5 is kind of interesting. I think the Cardinals are going to win this one outright.
I literally am right there with you. Like, I think the smart play would probably be to go with Minnesota, but I like Arizona in this matchup for some reason. I like Eno Benjamin. You talked about DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to take the Cardinals to win also. Give me the Cardinals on the upset, and I'm also going to take that over 48.5 in this game as well. And now it's time to hit our first NFC East matchup of the day. The Chicago Bears are 3-4. They're headed down to Dallas, Jerry World. The Cowboys are 5-2, and they are a whopping 10-point favorite. The over-under in this game is 42.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win, but I'm going to take the Chicago Bears to cover that 10 points. I think this game gets close. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why. I like the Bears to cover that 10 points. I'm also going to take the under 42.5. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I do like the Bears to cover because the Bears, they have been playing pretty good football their last 2 weeks. Justin Fields has had his last two performances are probably two of his best performances of the season. Was talking to the homies about this matchup as well on the Xbox just yesterday as well. And one of your boys was saying that the Washington defense has played two fantastic games back to back. Now, if I'm correct, 2 weeks ago they played the Chicago Bears on Thursday night. Is that correct?
That is correct.
They allowed the Chicago Bears to run for 238 rushing yards in that game. So I do think we will see a lot of running the rock, RTDB, hashtag. Y'all already know what it is. But I don't think it'll be enough for the Bears to win the game. I'm going to take the over, though. I'm going to take the over 42.5. I got the Cowboys winning this one, but the Bears will cover that 10.
All right. Up next, a couple of 2-win teams. The Las Vegas Raiders are 2-4. They're headed to Nolan's. Bourbon Street, Nolan's, and the over-under is 49. The Raiders are favored by 1.5 points. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I'm going to take the Saints outright in this one, man. Andy Dalton has been playing better football. I believe he's getting a start today. I think the Saints have a better set of weapons that are clicking right now at the moment. You can't forget about Adams. I mean, that's definitely going to be a vibe, and Josh Jacobs is probably going to do what he does on the ground. But I just think the Saints are going to be a little bit too much, man. A little bit better coached than the Raiders are. Give me the Saints in this one outright. I will take the under 49.
I'm going to take the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to take the Raiders minus 1.5. I think the Raiders win by at least a touchdown. And I'm going to take that under sounds really good, actually. I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the under 49 as well. Must win for both teams. Indeed.
Facts. When you just said that the Saints was 2-5, that surprised me. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to double check that. I might there might be a misprint on that Saints record. Let me just double check. Nope, they're 2-5. They're 2-5
at the bottom of that division right now with the Falcons at the top right now. That's crazy.
At 2-5, there's still only one game I guess out of first place. Yeah, kind of crazy. We're going to Philadelphia. Going to Pennsylvania. 2 teams from Pennsylvania. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 2-5. They're headed to Philly. Philly's the last undefeated team in the National Football League, sitting at 6-0. They are a whopping 11-point favorite. Over-under is 43. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
I'm going to take the Eagles. I'm praying to the gods that somehow Mike Tomlin and the Steelers could come away with a victory here, but I'm going to take the Eagles to cover the 11, actually, and I'm going to take over that 43.
I'm right there with you. Part of me is like, okay, Steelers, they beat Tampa Bay. Steelers, Mike Tomlin, but I don't see there's no proof in the pudding yet. The pudding is still sealed. I haven't been able to open up my chocolate jello, so I'm going to go Philadelphia. I'm going to go Philadelphia to cover. I'm going to go – man, Philadelphia might score 43 points themselves. I'm going to take the over in this game. Up next, This feels like a misprint, okay? This feels like these records are swapped. The New England Patriots are 3-4, but they're still 2.5-point favorites. They're headed to New York to face the Jets, who are 5-2. Over under in this game is 40 points. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the Jets. Give me the Jets. I don't know what's going on with the New England Patriots and that offense. So who knows who's going to play quarterback for the whole game? I was about to ask. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, they got all types of nicknames going on over there. They said it's Zappy Hour in New England.
Zappy Hour. I like that.
I like that too. But I don't like the Patriots. I like the New York Jets. The Jets are going to win this game, and we're going to go. I mean, do we think this teams could score 20 points? I'm going to go under 40 in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely take the under 40. But I do think that the Patriots are going to be able to win this game sloppy on their defense. Defense has definitely been playing well the last couple of weeks. I've got them in my starting lineup this week on my fantasy team. I'm going to take the Patriots outright in this one, man. I just think that Bill Belichick's going to be a little bit too much. Offensively, they found ways to move the ball with Zappy, but last week was definitely an exception. I mean, they looked pretty bad last week with both quarterbacks, but I'm hoping they can get that together, man. I'm just off a gut kind of, a whim here. I'm going to take the Patriots to get this one, and I'm going to take the under.
All right. Our last game of the 1:00 hour is going to be the Tennessee Titans, who are 4-2. Shout out to the graphics department. They headed to H-Town. The Texans not
you gotta
helping
love it when two teams' colors match
similar
up that
colors.
well.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Really good.
Well, the Houston Texans are still a couple games away from my over 4.5 prediction of win total for them. They are 1-4-1. The over-under in this game is 39. Kickoff is at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going upset. I think this game is going to be really close. I'm going to take the Houston. I guess it's not an upset because it's a pick 'em, though there's no line. It's an even line here in this game. But I'm going to take the Houston Texans to win this game by a last-second field goal, and I think we go over 39.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over 39. That's extremely low. Malik Willis getting the start today at quarterback for them Titans, man. I hope that he has had a week to prepare for this, and he's been practicing with the ones. Definitely want to see Malik Willis succeed in this league. I think he's got all the tools. Derrick Henry, let's not forget about those stats I talked about. In his last 3 games against the Houston Texans, he has 673 yards and 7 touchdowns, 7.6 yards per carry. The Texans have allowed the most rushing yards per game in the NFL. It should be extremely easy for Malik Willis today. He should just be handing the ball off. Play action should be wide open. I'd look for the Titans to actually blow out the Texans in this week's game. We shall see. Definitely taking them in this one to pick them, so it is what it is. I'm going to take that over 39.
Cernock says, don't do it, Beard. Don't do it.
He's right. Don't do it, dog. Reconsider. Read
all
some
right.
letters.
Yeah.
On the Texans.
Listen, I'm going with my gut and my heart.
I hear you.
I'm hungry, and the Texans are hungry for a win. All right. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen. Awthentics and yours. New York Football Giants are 6-1, looking to go to 7-1.
6-1, like he just came up from the water after he just jumped off the diving board. He's pulling up the ladder like 6-1.
They're headed to Seattle, who are 4-3. The Seahawks, no respect. Rodney Dangerfield in the New York Giants. The Seahawks are 3-point favorites. The over-under in this game is a little high, 44.5. Authentic, we know where you go. Tell the people what to expect in this game.
44.5. Let me see. I'm taking the over. I had them 28-21 for my New York Giants. And Seattle's favored by 3, so this is going to be another upset. You know, the New York Giants are 6-1 against the spread this year. 6-1 with the real record. So I'm going to take them in another upset here. I got my New York Giants. Y'all know what it is, man. Giants Nation is in the building. Seattle Seahawks are favored by 3.
Spike don't care.
Not one bit. Becky O'Shea, put her in your fantasy lineup. She's going to do her thing today. Give me my New York Giants 28-21.
That is a little Giants reference for those of you that don't know. I'm going to take the New York Giants. I think they go 7-1. I think it goes under. I don't remember what my score was from Thursday night. I think it's going to go under. I think the Giants are looking at a 23-20 victory here against the Seattle Seahawks.
That's what you might have had.
Maybe.
Might have been a 24-21.
Yeah, shout out to Lucas. I think Lucas is working on a spreadsheet to give us our updates on the Authentic and the Beard, Authentic versus the Beard standings. All right, from your game to my game.
Hey, shout out to JJ Stengel one time, who is in Seattle going to the game today. Can't wait. That is what's good. Definitely hope you get to see a victory, man. We had a couple of people from the show down in Jacksonville last week that got to witness that victory. Hey, fingers crossed for you, JJ. I hope all goes well for these New York Giants today. That's going to be a great one. Seattle's got a beautiful stadium, too. That should be a fun one to be at.
Yeah, we'll be looking for you on the TV holding your Authentic in the Beard poster up. Just says AATBLFGNYG. Only
Love it.
if you, and then might as well just throw in a IYNY. Is that it? If you know, you know.
IYK.
YK?
No, YK. We'll go YK. It's YK. KYK. Okay. Hashtag RTDB. Hashtag, what was the last one from the super chat again?
TG4TV.
There you go. TG4TV. Let's get it, Giants.
All right, moving on to my Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders are 3-4. They are headed to Pat McAfee town. The Colts are 3-1. The Colts are also 3-point favorites. They give the Eagles and the Cowboys are both double-digit favorites, while the Commanders and the Giants are underdogs. So the over-under in this game is a despicable Chicago Bearian 39.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to let Authentic go first.
ATN is really the offense for the Jaguars. That dude, he's crazy. So on Thursday, I picked the Colts to win this game in a close one. I think I picked 23-21. So that would be just over that 39.5. I'm going to take the over one time. I think that the let's change the score a little bit. I think the Colts are going to cover the 3. So we'll go 24-20 Colts, actually.
Shout out to all of the AATB fam-a-lam who is not agreeing with Authentic. We got Commanders.
ATB, just and the beard.
We got Commanders by Stephen Arce. Jamison taking the
Mr.
Commanders.
Guy too.
Bookend Tackles taking the Commanders. The Bays Boy taking the Commanders.
Shout out to Bays Boy. What time in the building?
Gregory and Mr. Mini Guy all taking the Commanders.
Shout out to Gregory, too. Gregory said them Dallas Cowboys should trade for Brandon Cooks earlier. I didn't miss that. I like that. That would be a really good move for the Cowboys, actually.
It would be. I think he's going to be a hot name leading up to that deadline for sure.
Brandon Cooks. Hot name. I like that. I like that. Good pun.
Bars on bars on bars on bars. I'm taking the Commanders, of course. Give me the Commanders. We're going to take it. I don't know how it goes. Left hand up.
No, I was just being for real. Who are the Commanders?
That's how it is. Who are we? The Commanders. Give me the Commanders. I'm going to take the over 39.5. We're going to get back to 500.
Yo, Frank Zappa kind of looks like the Jaguars owner a little bit. I don't know if you know who the Jaguars owner is.
Shaka Khan?
Shaka, is that his real name? It's not funny, but it's kind of funny.
I know it's not Shaka, it's not Genghis, but there is a Khan in there.
There's a Khan in there. Got you. Yeah. Melvin Gordon. Okay, I'm about to say.
Up next is going to be the last 4:00 game on the slate. The San Francisco 49ers, they're 3-4. They're headed to LA with the extra wide LA logo. There's 3-3.
A couple of teams that need a logo alteration. Seattle Seahawks, that's been their logo for forever. I don't like it. It's not symmetrical. LA need to go back to the old navy blue and white ram. Much better than this whole little swoop thing they got going on over their stadium. Not a fan.
It looks like a to live and die in LA sort of Big Trouble in Little Trouble in Big China. Very retro.
No, big. You had it right the first time. Big Trouble in Little China. Little Trouble in Big China. I like that.
I sounded like it made sense.
That
China
would
is
have
pretty
Charlie
big.
Sheen as the lead. Straight up.
Part two.
Part two.
San Francisco's 3-4. Rams are 3-3. This is a pick 'em. Over under is 42. This is a pick 'em. I'm gonna let you pick this one.
Give me the Rams in desperation. Just they got to get a win here, man. Matthew Stafford's got to play better football, sitting at 500. Give me the Rams, man. I think McVay's going to pull something out of that playbook to be able to get them to get the W in this one. I'll take the over 42, man. Hopefully, so my homie Kittle can put some points up on the board this week too.
This is so tough. I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm going to take the over. Field goal wins it all. And now we're moving to night, and this line is a line I never, ever thought I would say. The Green Bay Packers are 3-4. They're headed to Buffalo, who's 5-1. The Bills are favored to beat Aaron Rodgers and the Packers by 10.5 points. Over-under is 47. Give me the Buffalo Bills, but the Green Bay Packers find a way to cover that 10.5 points, and I'm going to go with the under 47 points.
Yeah, I like the under as well. I mean, that 47, that's extremely high. I mean, now, the Green Bay Packers have lost games to the New York Giants, to the Washington Commanders, to the New York Jets, all in a row. Those are three teams that probably ain't even in the same class with the Buffalo Bills outside of maybe my New York Giants. I'm going to take the Bills to cover that 10.5. I think it'll be a convincing victory. Hopefully, Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen are on the sidelines high-fiving and smiling by the end of this one.
It's going to be interesting. That I don't think this is the matchup the NFL had in mind when they scheduled this game. So we got to be getting close to flex, right? That's like week 10 or 11, something like that.
And there's still a couple games that haven't been determined yet. I know that Washington and New York Giants game, the second one, has not been determined yet either. So hopefully they flex that out and we can get a meaningful game by the time that one comes around.
The way we're about ready to get to 4-4, shout out Lax. Might be, hopefully we get there. Speaking.
I don't care.
I'm gonna put some sound clips in.
We need to take out the don't. Just Spike care.
Up next is Monday Night Football. Shout out Graphics Department.
That's about as good as you can make that look, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's like auto-tuned the graphics.
Yeah,
the Cincinnati Bengals are 4-3. They're 3-point favorites. It's going to be their first game of the season without Jamar Chase, who is out with a hip injury, 4 to 6 weeks. They're 3-point favorites. They're headed to Cleveland. The Browns are 2-5. Over-under is 4-5. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
Okay, over under 45. I'm going to take the over in this one. I do think this will be like a fairly high-scoring game, somewhere in the mid-20s for each team. The Browns, 2.5, huh? Is that what that is? Oh, no. It's what's the line on this one?
The Bengals are favored by 3.
By three. Okay, not 2.5. Yeah, give me the Bengals. I think they'll cover that 3. The Browns are going to fight. Fourth quarter, Bengals will kind of take the lead to another level. And, I mean, Joe Burrow's just been playing great football. Hopefully Mixon can get in that end zone a couple times today and, help my fantasy team to a victory. I'm going to take the Browns to cover, and I'm going to take the over in this one.
Give me the Bengals. Give me the Bengals to cover the -3, and give me the...
I think I might have said is that Jerry Jeudy? Good. I'm glad that wasn't Jerry Jeudy. Easy drop by Cortland Sutton. A big throw from Russell Wilson, though, for like a 40-yard gain on the play before that. I think I said I'm taking the Browns. I meant to say the Bengals. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals. Take the Bengals -3. Over under. That's a little dicey. It's a little dicey.
Do it.
But Burrow, we going over. We're going over.
We're gonna get there.
Give me over 45. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude this week's edition of Rapid Fire.
The Broncos need to go back to them OG uniforms with the logo that has the D and then the Bronco coming out of the letter, and them orange and blue vibes, yeah, I'm a big fan of those. They need to go back. This whole like Terrell Davis era of Broncos uniforms, I ain't like those when those first came out. That whole futuristic look, not a big fan of those.
Yeah, I mean, there's some retro vibes out there that just deserve a little bit more love.
Shout out to the Brooklyn Nets, man. You see the retros they was wearing last night with the stars on the side, the traditional American
were they
ones.
the sky blue, the Titan,
all white,
Arizona,
all white,
all
white, dog, with the red stars right here with the blue nets. Man, them Jones fire, bro.
I want to see some. Right before they changed over, the Kerry Kittles, Keith Van Horn era, those are some good Nets jerseys too.
It's that vibe, but I don't know if you remember them. They had that All-Star American vibe. Not the ones with the funny Nets logo. The ones that had like, they kind of looked like the traditional Sixers uniform as well.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, them Jones was on fire yesterday. I don't know if they got the win or not yesterday.
But the Lakers still have not won a game.
Yeah, they in struggle mode big time, man. I'm praying for them Lakers and my homie Bad Dog.
Oh, Waterfly, I'm not avoiding it. Here we go. Big shout out to Waterfly for the $2 super chat. Rushing touchdown.
Rushing touchdown. Rushing touchdown. I like it.
I listen. At this point, I just want to win. I just want wins.
Ooh, Kevin the PRF got a good one up there. Let me highlight this one. Geno Smith or Dak Prescott today?
Geno. As much as I listen, Dak is not back, Jack. The attack
Dak is back.
For
Dak had an extremely efficient game last week. Wasn't even really called upon to throw the ball like that.
But fantasy-wise.
Yeah, he's back, Jack.
201 touchdown. That's not back.
Oh, that's just to let you know I'm here kind of stat line.
So he just like he arrived. He just hasn't. He hasn't.
The Bears,
number 2 pass defense in the league.
We gonna see.
We definitely gonna see.
That's a 1 o'clock game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're not taking no Geno Smith against my New York Giants. Not today. Not today.
Shout out to everybody in the chat who is watching us right now on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and of course here on YouTube. We got 50 people in the building while there is a London game. For some reason, I texted Awthentik last night. I thought this game was in Germany.
The next one is in Germany.
Next one's in Germany.
Yep.
Okay. For that Germany game, I'm gonna need some Rammstein hardcore German metal. You know that song, right? Like just like Triple X.
Do I look like I know that song?
You know the song. It's like Vin Diesel's driving a Porsche off of a bridge. This Du hast.
Is that how the hook goes?
Boom, 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 boom.
Nope, don't know that, Joe.
Yeah, it is. You know it.
I don't know it.
Man, listen, when we get off air, you Google YouTube Du hast. Du hast me.
All right. I got
it's like it's a crazy, like, something we about to go.
You sound like you're imitating the song from Varsity Blues when they were losing after the strip club.
It's okay, it's not that, but it gives you that sort of same
that kind of vibes.
Yes.
That's I feel like that's Steven Tyler singing that lead on that joint.
Oh no, that's AC/DC.
Down, down, down. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. That's AC/DC.
That joint. You know what I'm talking about?
That's another one of them jokes, man.
I thought they were saying Haas maybe at that point, but it's something different.
The old, you only get stuff like this out of Awthentik and The Beard, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just call a spade a spade.
Indeed.
Listen, I don't necessarily listen to them, Mr. Mini Guy, but I know it. And I'll tell you, okay, we're going to close it. We're going to close out the show. I will say this. I did my first ever haunted forest thing this weekend.
Oh, yeah, I did see you on like Instagram or something like that. How was it?
It was dope, man. Like next year, we definitely should plan like a little jump. Me, you, Gressel, Josie, and we'll all go. Because I've never been to one before. Like it was good though. Because Josie really wanted to go. I got to take Josie date night with the wife. You know what I'm saying? But like It was a little chilly. I didn't prepare myself. I should have had the hoodie.
You be in the winter with the window cracked. I'll be like, bro, what is you doing, cuz?
So, but yes, this is my first time ever doing it. At first, Josie made it seem like we was going on a hayride, like a pumpkin patch or something, right?
Yeah.
Man, we showed up, dog. This joint is in Poolsville. This isn't the one that like everybody know about. It's a different one. This was in Poolsville. Bro, we rolled up to the farm. It looks like you're going to a concert. Like this, like a rave. Like it was huge.
Like a rave with the amount of people?
No, like just like the outdoor rave setting. Like there's like you just see smoke and lights and music, and you walk in and it's like this like little like
is that
town.
Melvin Gordon again?
Oh, another touchdown. Or is it Murray?
Latavius Murray. That's good to know. So the Broncos just took the lead, man. It's 20-17. They're about to kick the extra point with 1:43 left in that game. They'll probably be up by 4 points. Trevor Lawrence get one more shot to march down the field and get a touchdown.
I think he does it. But yes, it was lit. It was lit.
I gotta check that out. I definitely gotta check that out.
And then you go on. They take you on this tractor, and then they take you to like this other spot. And then it's like a maze thing you walk through, and there's like real people. It's like a strip club. They can touch you, but you can't touch them.
I've done one of those before. What was it? Adventure World used to do hollow screen back in the day, and it was like that, dog. Like, I'd be ready to steal somebody in them joints. They be jumping out, gang, 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 gang. I'm like, come on, dog. Like, you really trying to lose your life out here on this hollow screen vibes, man.
It was dope, though, man. It was dope. Like, they had played music the whole time, and that's what reminded me of it, because they played that song outside when I was, like,
the
by
Haas
the bonfire. They played the Haas joint.
Hey, according to the chat, that Haas joint is fire. So maybe I'll sample some Haas vibes for this, the next parlay vibes. We'll see what's good.
It's lit. It's lit. But shout out everybody in the chat, man. Another awesome episode of the Parlay here at Awthentik and The Beard, the best television show not on television. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Shout out to everybody who's been sending us messages too, telling us about the show, man. It's awesome, man. We appreciate all the love and the support. Don't forget, tomorrow, one of the greatest shows to hit the interwebs in the last 20 years, the Giant Overreaction, hosted by the man, the myth, the legend, Awthentik himself. Everybody in the chat, throw some biceps in the chat. I'm going to let Awthentik do his thing and take us out.
Y'all know what it is, man. We got some big NFC East games this week, man. Keep your eyes on them at 1 o'clock, man. The Giants and the Commanders are going to be at 4 o'clock. Make sure y'all check those out. Best of luck to everybody that's going to be at the game in Seattle, and best of luck to everybody that's going to be at the Washington Commanders game representing for the Beard one time. Y'all know what it is over here, man. Big salute to everybody rocking out with us today, man, on the Parlay. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Shout out to the podcast, Goat Combat Jack. Shout out to my homie Premium Pete, too, who's the co-host of that show, man. Big love to them over there, man, and continuing to carry on the Combat Jack legacy, man. Y'all be good. Turn on some Red Zone. Enjoy your football Sunday this week. This is going to be a good one, y'all. Hopefully them Giants could climb to 7-1 before that bye. We shall see, man. Y'all know what it is. Best of luck to them Commanders one time going up against the Colts. I ain't going to be over here hating on you, the Beard. Chat, we love y'all. Y'all know what it is, man. Be good. Enjoy y'all football Sunday. Peace.